away by Keeley, and there is the full-time whistle. Shelbourne, try as they might, couldn't quite come up with the quality required to breach a stubborn Drogheda United defence. For the second time this season, Drogheda United have come to Tolka Park and left with something that's 4 points from 6 on their travels against the champions this season. They will move on after their second consecutive draw. For Shelbourne, well, it's more points dropped, more ground lost to Shamrock Rovers in the title race. They do need to find some form and some luck with injuries as quick as they possibly can. It's finished full time here at Tolka Park. Shelbourne and Drogheda United unable to be separated. Shells 0, Drogheda 0.
Yeah, and it won't surprise you to learn that in that second half try, as they might, Shelbourne, they did not have a shot on target as they chased a winner. And Ian Morris, just to bring you the outcome from the other game tonight, Shamrock Rovers have beaten St. Pat's, or are on course, I should say, to beat St. Pat's comfortably. That would mean that Shelbourne would be 9 points behind Rovers, and we started even by wondering to Shelbourne, could they not afford to slip any further behind Shamrock Rovers? Is this a big ask for Shelbourne now to defend their title?
Yeah, it's getting more and more difficult. Shamrock Rovers look like they've hit such a sweet spot. They've hit their stride, scoring goals freely, clean sheets. That they could end up with another one here tonight against Pats, who's another big dent for them. But in terms of Shells, no shots on target, struggling to score goals. They looked really lack of ideas tonight. Not much creativity. Very surprised at the Harry Wood substitution in terms of I thought he was the most creative for them. Really lack of quality in the game as a whole tonight.
Vinny, what's your take?
Yeah, Shells were blunt. You know, their organisation and their passing is fine, but blunt, they were comfortable enough. Yes, there was a lot of good blocks, but they weren't like life-saving blocks or anything like that. It was comfortable from them, and yeah, Shells have fallen off a cliff after winning the league last year. Where they found themselves now is disappointing, and as much as Rovers and take nothing away from them, as much as they've kicked on, I tell you what, the others have been a little bit lacklustre, the other so-called favourites.
Lacklustre just about sums it up this evening. No goals at Tolka Park. Shelbourne 0, Drogheda United 0. We'll have analysis and reaction after the break. The Diamond League Athletics continues this week. We're back on Sunday from 7 o'clock on Virgin Media 2 with the action coming from Rabat for that one. Back to tonight though, and as you can see, we had no goals to enjoy at Tolka Park this evening. Shelbourne 0, Drogheda United 0. Just 2 shots on target from Shelbourne. They huffed and puffed tonight, none in the second half. Disappointing night from their point of view. Just 3 home wins in 9. Mind you, did end a 7-game run without a clean sheet for Shelbourne. So every cloud and all that. Right, let's get into it. Vinny, we're going to look at what we don't know whether to say this is like Shelbourne being blunt in attack, like you were talking about before the break, or really good defending from Drogheda point of view. So talk to us about that.
It's obviously a mixture of both. In terms of Shelbourne, you wanted to see a little bit more creativity in their play, and spoke at half-time about speeding it up, but it was a lack of quality at times, and that ball is just overhit. But there's nothing there, you know, when it comes back out. There's nothing of quality. There's not picking people out. Yes, Drogheda have thrown their bodies on the line to a point, but again, it's behind Meepo. Everything Meepo has dealt with tonight has been on scraps, and even this cross into the box, there's no sort of set pattern of play. Someone getting across the front post, again, Gannon, it's slightly overhit. They're defenders' ball when there's too much air, and defenders love them. So, look, it needed Drogheda to throw the body on the line here, but it's still a shot, 2 shots from distance. So there's nothing in terms of getting down the side. You haven't seen Shelbourne getting to an end line at any stage in the game, and when Drogheda needed to come alive from a defensive point of view, they've done that. And the back three, Ahua, Quinn, and Keeley. I thought they were exceptional tonight. You know, if you could marry the 3 of them together, I'd be fighting with Graham Gartland. They should have got man of the match, but you had to give it to one, and you can see why, to be fair. So I thought they were excellent. They dug in. We said that at half-time they'll find themselves into the game. And then as that game wore on, it was them that looked the more likely.
Yeah, I mean, like a point at the champions, you know, it's obviously nothing to be sneezed at. But will Drogheda be going up the road thinking we had moments there, and as that second half went on, you kind of felt it was more likely that they were going to score?
Yeah, and I think that's how they set up. Like, you could see how Drogheda set up, that they have their back five in, they have their midfielders, they have their two up top, and they look to just get the ball up the pitch as quick as they can. They have runners, and they created probably the better chances in the game. And as it wore on, James Taylor here has a shot, and we were talking about working Lorcan Healy when he came on in the first half, and they certainly did this. This was a huge one. James Taylor takes it off Conor Keeley, arguably the best header of a ball in the league. But they started to get a little bit more confidence, and they start getting balls in good areas. They start running channels, and Andy Quinn here plays a lovely ball out wide. Again, James Taylor causing hassle, getting the strike off. Unfortunately, can't hit the targets this time. But they really just kept pushing and pushing. We'll sit deep, we'll soak up loads of pressure like we just shown, and then we'll start to get balls in the box. This decent save for Lorcan Healy, but he'd be delighted with that. But these chances for Alua, this is where you're looking for someone with a bit of quality. Get your head up, roll that across for either Brennan or James Taylor to slot in, and he can't do that. Big block by Cameron Ledwidge at the end. But the chances kept on kind of rolling for Drogheda in the last 15-20. This is a huge chance. Again, bit of quality, have a touch, hit the target. Alua looks like the type of player that he just wants to be running into green grass. Doesn't want too much time to think. He had a couple of good chances there to win it for his team, but Drogheda will be delighted. If you would have said to them, you'll take a point before the game, clean sheet, they'd have bit your hand off.
The SSE Electricity Player of the Match was the Drogheda captain, Ryan Brennan. He's speaking now to Dave McIntyre.
Ryan, you are the SSE Electricity Player of the Match tonight. I guess sometimes you just have to grind it out, and tonight was one of those nights.
Yeah, tough place to come, obviously, to the champions. Great point all in all. We tried to contain them as much as we can for the first 50-60 minutes, keep the crowd quiet, and we were lucky enough probably not to come out on the other side of it. So look, probably a fair result. There was a portion of the first half, maybe the second period of the first half, for you guys are looking pretty threatening. Was that your best spell of the game? Yeah, absolutely. I think 10 minutes into the first half we looked like we could get it down and start playing. Then Shells obviously pressed us a little bit higher. We maybe had to go down the sides a little bit. It didn't stick up there as much as we wanted, but we came into the game the last kind of 20 minutes and on another night and licked them. Yeah, so good to have Darren Markey back, isn't it? Because he's so bright and busy when he came in for the last 20 minutes. And as Shells started to commit one or two more bodies forward, I just wondered, was there going to be a winner here for you? Yeah, absolutely. Look, as I said, it probably opened up the last 10-15 minutes and either side could have got one. I thought we were comfortable kind of throughout in our shape. Obviously getting Darren back is massive right before we break, but two massive games now coming up, so we have to dig in and go again. Finally, Ryan, where are you in terms of the ambitions with which you enter the season? Have they changed in recent weeks? You're so far above the bottom two that do you spend more time looking up than over your shoulder now? Not really. I go back to the old cliche of looking at our next game and take it as it comes. We have to dig in at times. We know that. We roll up our sleeves, we do it together, and we love defending as much as we love attacking and scoring goals, but we're together, and that's the main thing, and hopefully going forward now we can pick up more points. Okay, well played tonight. Thanks for your time. Thanks very much.
Yeah, an interesting interview, Vinny, isn't it? Because we're going to show his sort of show reel of the night, the man of the match, the Drogheda captain. He sort of epitomises what's really great about them, and it's not a sexy show reel of silky skills. It's the hard work that dug out that result this evening, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a bit of hard work, a bit of experience, and a little bit of guile as well from him in terms of just know-how. He comes into a little pocket here, and it's so simple what he does. Finds that little pocket of space and then just whips it first time, putting Shells under pressure. But it was all the little things, the block there, throwing his body on the line. And look, as he said, you're going to the champions, you've got to dig in deep. And it was all those little flicks around the corners. And you know, I better be kind to him. I'm up there on Friday and his two brothers be up there waiting on me. The Brennans, they've a mixture, you know, they've a family of real skillful footballers. And I'm not sure he is the most skillful, but he's certainly a very talented footballer. Looks bigger than you now. Yeah, definitely. Well, Killian is certainly bigger than me, but he has a huge League of Ireland pedigree, and he showed that tonight. He showed that little bit of experience that was brilliant, and delight from. I actually don't think he gets the credit he deserves in terms of his quality. I brought him to Shells. He was there for over 3 years with me. He is one of the cleverest players that I've seen around the league in terms of when you have a fit Ryan Brennan, he can do the dirty side, but he's got that bit of quality. He's got that bit of cleverness. Even you've seen the bit where he was down with his head injury.
Shells were conceding, or Shells were putting pressure on there. They had multiple balls in the box, and he took the the speed of play out of the game for them, and he gave them that breather just to get them sorted. So I think he's a top player.
Top player for Drogheda. Not a top night from Shelbourne's point of view. 1 win in 8 now. Their manager Damian Duff is standing by with Dave.
Damien, more disappointment, just 1 win in 8 now. What's your emotion after that game? Is it frustration?
Of course, yeah. We expect to beat anyone home or away. So yeah, obviously disappointed. The lads are disappointed up there, but there's another game coming on Friday, so we'll have to dust ourselves down, recover, and go again for that. Did we deserve to win tonight? I don't think there was a lot between the both teams. I think the ball was out of play more than it was in play. When we did have it in play, I thought it was about wearing them down, grinding them down, and we certainly didn't do that enough.
You spoke in the build-up about these games where you're enjoying an awful lot of the ball, but then that obviously needs to be converted into chances and then goals scored. It was a similar story tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, listen, I'll have to look back at the chances. I thought there were possibly more half chances again. I think we got into a lot of good moments up around the final thirds, and that's probably what's let us down this season, having that calm, that clarity, being killers in the final third and also in the defensive third. Yeah,
you saw Harry Wood coming off, JJ Lunny coming off, 2 of your more craftier players, I guess, creative players. Is there enough depth in the squad in terms of that particular part of the field, the final third, where you do need that quality at the moment?
Well, of course I never like mentioning injuries, but if you're asking about depth, there's a few guys out, there's a few guys suspended, obviously. So even Ali tonight, that final third, he can unlock defences. But listen, for sure, the squad is there. We've squad of 21 outfield players, more than 2 for every position, so there's no qualms about that.
Conor Kearns obviously going off. That's not going to help things either. Is that a serious one? Is that one you're concerned about?
We don't know. We'll obviously have to scan him in the morning, but Lorcan's come in and done well and saved the day really there. If you're not going to win the game, you don't lose the game. You're back here again this Friday, and that's the good thing about this league. There's always another game, isn't there? You don't really have too long to reflect on what's gone on. It's all about what's coming down the tracks. Yeah, for sure. So listen, the team... we're certainly not in a good moment, you say, at the minute, but it's all about sticking together, working hard and just keeping it simple, and that's what we'll do, and we'll recover well and we'll bounce into Friday. Thanks for your time. Cheers, thank you. Cheers, Dave. Cheers, Topman.
They're not in a good moment, Vinny. How do they get out of it?
I suppose, look, I think the window can't come quick enough, and they've got to get a few players back, but they've come away from what they were doing brilliantly last year. I understand why, but...
Do they need to go back to that?
Yeah, possibly, and become a little bit ugly again and force some teams onto them. And that sort of back four, you think of... I think they're okay in, say, the full-back areas. Can they get full-backs a little bit further? Because they not got to the end line at any stage tonight for a decent pull-back, not creating enough chances in the final third. So Damien's got to question that a little bit. He's all right having loads of the ball, but Luke Denson in goal for Drogheda hasn't really had anything decent to do tonight. It's been comfortable.
Do you think he'd be, as a manager, questioning his sort of approach this season to maybe evolve their style and wondering maybe I go back to the sort of belt and braces that was so successful last season?
Yeah, but to me they look like they've worked on so much patterns of play and training that they're manufacturing how they're going to play and how they're going to go. And you want your players like Harry Wood to play off the cuff, to have that little bit of, I'm going to pull into areas, I'm going to get turned, Ali Coots, kind of being a little bit freer in it. They look like they're set up in a certain way, and everyone's going to get in a position when we have the ball, and we're going to play through, and we're going to try to get higher up the pitch. That might tie in as well to that Meepo's not the hold-up man that Sean Boyd is, and who can bring people into play, who can harry defenders, who can win balls to bring others in, to flick beyond. So maybe they're a little bit caught, and they're not playing as free as they probably could be.
OK, time for a quick break now, but do stay with us, because when we come back, we'll have more reaction from that game, but we will have all the goals from Tala as well as Shamrock Rovers took on St. Pat's. Don't go anywhere. Lots more League of Ireland action coming up over the next few weeks. This Friday, we are at Richmond Park for St. Pat's against Waterford. Following Friday, then to Dalymount for Bohemians against Derry City. And then after the mid-season break, it'll be Shelbourne against Shamrock Rovers. Let's just stop off in our live game again tonight, because we want to hear from Drogheda United boss Kevin Doherty, who's standing by with Dave.
Kevin, we spoke to Damien. He's frustrated. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm frustrated we didn't win it as well. Like, you look at it, probably in the first half they certainly had more of the ball, and they did have more of the ball, and generally it's the case with us. But the second half, I thought all the chances we had, I don't remember them having a chance in the second half unless I'm mistaken. But the chances we had in the second half, look, you have a game plan, and we get the most out of the players we have by playing with that game plan, and broken had the best chances in the second half. I don't know how we didn't score the one with Thomas, and whether it was squared or the keeper makes good saves, but we should score. And I'm not frustrated with the performance. I thought it was a good performance. Look, you're coming to the home of the champions. We've been here twice and picked up 4 points. Like, you have to ultimately be happy with that. But I thought we were more. I thought in the first half they were better, and I thought in the second half we were better, basically.
OK, let's move on to tonight's other game that was taking place at Tallaght Stadium. Shamrock Rovers, the league leaders, up against St Pat's, who are 4 points back in third. And it's not long finished in Tallaght, and the league leaders have well and truly dominated this one. It all started with an early goal from 16-year-old Michael Noonan, as he continued to show his talent. Few questions, to say the least, though, as you can see, to be asked of Joseph Anang in the Pats goal. Head in his hands quite reasonably there. Then on 36 minutes, Graham Burke doubled his side's advantage with a fine solo run, and that strike from outside the box. 2-0 Rovers in a pretty gloomy first half for Pats, and the misery got even worse for Stephen Kenny's side when they conceded a third early in the second half. It was Burke once again scoring his 6th league goal of the season. Danny Grant with the assist there. And Rovers continued to put out a big statement to the other title contenders. They made it 4 when substitute Aaron Green rounded off a superb night for Stephen Bradley's side as they ran out comfortable winners and widened that gap at the top of the table. Confirmation then of tonight's 2 results. Shelbourne 0, Drogheda United 0 in our live game, and the league leader Shamrock Rovers a thumping win in the Dublin derby against St Pat's. Remember, these are the teams who will be representing the League of Ireland in European football later in the summer, so they're playing each other to leave space for those fixtures later on, and it means that Rovers have a game more played than Derry City, but it is a 5-point gap. Drogheda edge up to 4th, Shelbourne 6th, and they're 9 points behind the leader Shamrock Rovers now. The first sort of half of the season, Ian, was all about the unpredictable league, great stories, teams overtaking each other. Is it starting to feel now that this is Rovers' title, even at this point, if their true quality reflects in the season that remains?
Yeah, I think to throw your hat at someone at this stage after the way the league has gone, you'd be mad. But I do think that they're a form side in terms of like getting players back, creating chances, scoring goals, putting people under pressure. Even the way their demeanour, the way they're playing, they look like, yeah, we're going to be the champions. We're going to get our crown back. We'll blow anyone away as soon as they come. Where you look at the Pats result there again, you're looking at highlights, but from the previous weeks, I'm not sure on the Pats players in terms of their body language, what they're doing in terms of, are we sure on, have we got a certain team that we're going to go to all the time? Loads of changes, formations changing. Like, where are they at the moment in terms of like who they are as a team identity? Can we, because they've got the players individually, it's how can Stephen Kenny get the best out of that squad?
Is that the story here, Vinny? As much as Rovers win again, that is the question, is Stephen Kenny under pressure, or as much pressure as a manager with a 5-year contract can be on? What's your take on it?
You know, I think Pats fans will be bitterly disappointed. I think they made the fatal error tonight. It looks like that they went and tried to match up Shamrock Rovers in terms of playing with the back three, two like Simon Power and Zach Abizetti as wing backs, and they left 4 full backs on the bench, and it obviously hasn't worked. And that back three, Turner coming in, first game that more or less start in a long time, you have to question. Unfortunately, it's like questioning your sort of godfather. How do you do it? But you have to question the decision making around Pats at the moment. It's not being good. They could allude to they're only 2 or 3 points off second, but you know, they came into this season, spent a lot of money, and expected to go after a title, and they've a long way to get back into the title race now, because that's a big gap the way Rovers are playing. And that last goal from Shamrock Rovers was good as goal you'll see in many ways, because of the beautiful one-touch football, and that shows a team full of confidence. So Rovers are really putting it on at the moment.
They certainly are, yeah. Rovers 5 points clear at the top of the table after this evening's events. We'll leave it there. Thanks to Ian and Vinny for their analysis this evening on a night where Shamrock Rovers really laid down a marker. Our shell's starting to crack. Bye for now.